When I first came here 5 years ago, we just began working in PLCs. For my staff, anyway, that was the first time that we really started working together to a different level. It was fairly closed doors in the school. And so that starting with PLCs was really about building trust to talk about student learning, and to first have teachers actually share student work was like a huge step, you know, where you're really opening yourself up. So before we even started talking about instruction, you know, it's just like, well, how can we just start to open ourselves up a little bit to look at some data, each other's data from your classroom? It's a huge step.
Last year was my first year doing BERC, and they did come through in the fall and the spring. So it's changed drastically from fall of last year to fall of this year. Oh, we were pretty embarrassed about our scores, actually. We had a lot of work to improve, and it just led to more collaboration between the teachers and trying to figure out, okay, what do we need to do to get our numbers up?
At first, it was a shock, and people were like, no, we do a good job teaching. And then, you know, you look at your test scores and you look at that STAR protocol data, which compared us to the STAR average, and we were lower than it. And I think then people started, we got those lesson planning.
It was a wake-up call.
It was a wake-up call, definitely.
You know, we thought what we were doing was effective.
I truly felt like I was doing a good job as a teacher, but hearing what the BERC people had to say initially was, whoa, we've got some work to do.
We were looking at the pre-reform videos, and I thought, that's fine teaching, you know, that's what we're doing, you know, and so I felt like we're all hard workers, and so I think at first you kind of are maybe offended, briefly offended, thinking, you know, what's wrong with that, you know, and then you start to wrap your mind around the different indicators in the STAR protocol and learn that there's a lot of things we can learn.
We did learning walks outside of the building, which people found really helpful, really effective for reflection.
Well, the first time that we did it, we were facilitated with a professional BERC facilitator. And we went to a school in a nearby town and got to go through lots of classes, and we went through the whole protocol and then reflected on that, you know, and what that would look like. And it's evolved into us leading learning walks off-site with our staff members, and now we're leading them within our building.
Just being able to go into a school and reflect on what can we do in our own classroom, what can we do to incorporate thinking and skills and knowledge into our own teaching. So it was very helpful. I want you to think in your mind, what is the story going to be about? We're making a prediction of what is going to happen.
I don't know, at the very beginning when they heard about it, all bought in right away. But as they started seeing how it worked and how we could work together and how it was actually improving student learning and how it was easy to change, I mean, I think everyone has really bought in and realized the significance of the STAR protocol for sure.
Last year, at the beginning of the year when it was introduced, I still really didn't know a lot about it. You know, I just didn't have the interest, you know, at first because it was new. And then I saw more teachers using it and talking about it. Then I started trying some of those things. And as I did that, I found that it was working pretty well for me and the kids. Think about what are some of the rules and principles that you live by in your own family. Think about that. What would happen if you didn't have those in your family? Go ahead and talk about that.
Part of it is so simple and intuitive, but part of it is you have to be really intentional. If it's simple and intuitive, then you think, well, I ought to be able to do that without making it so intentional. But it doesn't work that way. I mean, I think for me at least, I have to be really intentional.
I've increased my understanding. We've got common language, and I think it's becoming more of our daily routine at Mary Purcell. It flows more fluently. We're able to identify them, and we're able to go back and implement them pretty smoothly.
At the beginning of the year, I took a group in a learning walk in another school, and you know, we saw some great teaching. When we got back and we started talking, and all the teachers I was with were spontaneously just had all this BERC language. It was really exciting. It was the first time that I'd heard that common language without a lot of prompting, and yeah, it was neat, and I that's when I realized that we're getting it.
It was a big uproar in the faculty lab. We were so proud of ourselves, and to actually see the data and to see it out like that on the table and to realize how much gain we had made just by switching those little things that really affected students was why we were doing it.
So I've noticed that the kids are more engaged. You know, they know how to do it. They've learned in kindergarten how to turn to their partner and say whatever. And so that's kind of exciting because then they're really engaged in their learning that way.
It's a really good group of kids. They're real engaged. They're probably more engaged with the STAR protocol. At least that's what I've seen with my kids.
Because they're more involved and it's not just one person putting on the show, it is impacting their test scores as far as within our classroom, like the comprehension test, the reading test at the end of the week.
We all want to be better at what we do. So when they see that it's effective, they want to keep doing it. And so I feel like that's kind of the long-term goal and momentum, is just people seeing that it works, and so it makes them feel good about what they're doing.
We do believe in the education system, most of us do, and we want to make it better, and we are really rooting for these kids. We're trying so hard.